today's video, we are going to talk about something a bit different. We are going to talk about how you can collaborate on GitHub and work in teams with your friends. If you have a project and you want to collaborate with someone, you can use this method. Now, we have a document on the creator portal that explains it, but this video is just gonna make it easier. It's a bit complicated or complex, but once you get the hang of it, it's gonna be easier. And if you find any issues, you can always repeat the video. I'm gonna try to talk as slow as possible, but I hope this video will actually help you start pushing your project to GitHub because it's highly recommended. First things first, go to github.com and you're going to create a profile if you don't have one. I have my profile here. So once you create a profile, you go to desktop.github.com and you install GitHub if you are on Windows or if you're on Mac. And I believe once you install this one and you run the installation setup steps, you will automatically get the Git download. But if you don't, you go to Git, you just type Git download on Google and it will take you to this link and you can download it for Windows. Now this is really important because you can't use GitHub and Git without actually having Git installed on your machine. Now once that's done, you are going to locate your project in the in Highrise Studio Hub, and in here I'm gonna reveal in File Explorer. You can see now that this is the project that we have. It's project tutorial and it's located in project in the documents. So what you can do is you can open it and you can select this path right here and you can type cmd. Now this will open up. Now that you have Git installed, you will run a command, and that command is git init, and you just hit enter. If you're on Mac, you can just open the terminal and locate the project path and hit enter. Now once you hit enter, it will create a Git folder for you. Once that's done, you are going to go to the GitHub desktop app in here. Now I already have this repository, but you are not going to have it. So what you can do is, let me just remove it from here. Make sure you want to remove from GitHub desktop. Yes, I want to. I'm going to teach you how to import it. So to import it to GitHub desktop, you click on add and then add existing repository. And in here, you can either select this path right here, copy it from here, and you just put it in the local path, or you can choose and you can find it, find the root directory for the project. And then you click on add repository, and this will add the repository to the GitHub desktop. And what you're going to do here is you're basically going to make a new commit, or you just want the files, or you want to push all the folders into GitHub. So you do it by adding a commit message in here. For example, you can go ahead and type initial commit, and you can just commit to master and just wait for this to load. Once that's done, we are going to publish the repository. So click on publish, and you can change the name of the repository if you want. You can give it a description, and I suggest you keep this code private, because even if it's private, you can still collaborate with others. You can invite them, and I'm going to teach you how in a second. So publish repository, name already exists on this account. I already have this because I tried before, so I'm just going to change the name. I'm just going to say project, so just going to say Highrise project tutorial, for example, and publish repository. And it's loading, just wait for it. Now it is done. And in here, if you click on the branch, we have a master branch which all our folders are inside. And if I go back to the GitHub app or the GitHub web, and I go to your repositories in here, and I select Highrise project tutorial, you can see here that these are my folders, and I only have one branch if you click on this master right here. Now master is basically the main branch, which is all the folders that we have, and I'm going to teach you how you can make changes to this GitHub. But first, if you want to add someone to collaborate with you, they can go to settings, or you can go to settings and then collaborators, and in here you can authenticate. I already have a two-step authentication, that's why I'm going to get the use GitHub mobile. But if you don't, you can basically just invite members to your repository. Okay, So that's done. Let's go back to the GitHub app or the desktop, GitHub desktop, and explain a few things here. Now, like I said, the master branch is the main branch which our project is located in. I can go ahead and create a new branch here. I can create as many branches as I want. So if I create a new branch, now this branch will be based on the master branch. So whatever branch I create here is just gonna copy the master. But each branch has its own changes. So for example, if I create a branch here and I make changes in this branch, it won't be moved to master. Does that make sense? I'm going to give you an example here. So I'm going to first open the project. So let's open project tutorial. So now that our project is open, you can see here, I'm already getting changes that needs to be pushed. And that's because this project is old. And I removed a folder from this project before I created this branch. So it says here that I removed the shop UI and I also removed the shop UI. So to make these changes saved on GitHub, what we're going to do, this is a great example actually. I'm going to commit and I'm going to say removed shop UI. And then I'm going to hit commit to master. And then I'm going to push origin. I'm going to push them to GitHub. Now that's done. We have the GitHub is up to date. And if I go back to the web and I refresh this page, you can see here that I just committed a new commit and it says removed shop UI. Okay. Now let's go back in here. And before you make any changes in the project, I suggest you always create a branch for these changes. For example, let's say I am working on a shop UI and I don't want to commit these changes to the main branch because the main branch is busy, or it's just to keep it safe, right? Because let's say you and your friends are working on different things. You are working on the shop UI while your friends are working on payments. You don't want to conflict the changes between the shop UI and the payments. So what you do is you click on here and you create a new branch, and I always give it a name. So my name, I start with my name, then slash, then what I'm working on. So for example, shop UI, and I create this branch. Now I have two branches. I have the master, which is the main branch, and then I have my own branch, which is the shop UI. Now, any changes that I make in Unity right now will only be applied to shop UI, right? So let's go back to Unity, and in scripts, in UI, I'm going to create a folder, and I'm going to call this shop UI. And inside the folder, I'm going to create a UI, and I'm going to call it shop UI. Oops, shop UI. I'm going to wait for this to compile. Now, once that's done, I'm going to open the GitHub desktop, and you can see here that these are my changes. And it's in the branch that I just created. I'm going to show you what happens when I switch to branch, because remember, we are changing stuff in Unity on this branch. So if I change to master, I was going to say leave my changes on shop UI. I'm going to leave them. I'm going to switch to branches. I'm going to go back to Unity, and now my changes should be reverted and all my folders are gone. You can see now the changes are gone, and that's because I switched to the branch that doesn't have the changes. Now if I switch back to my new branch, which has the shop UI, the changes are going to be stashed. So I'm going to click on stash changes, and I'm going to just restore them. So restore and go back to Unity. You can see now the scripts and the changes are back. And that's because we switched branches. This is it for the branches. Does it make sense? And now you can create another branch, and you can keep creating branches for the stuff that you work on. Now we want these changes to be pushed to the main branch because we don't want to keep switching branches, right? So let's say you finished working on the shop UI and you want these changes to be on master. What you do is you add a commit in here, and you're going to say added shop UI, for example. It's always better to add a clear commit message so you can view it in the history in here. You can see here that I have a history with initial commit and then remove shop UI. And now if I commit again, you can see here in history, I have added shop UI, right? But now we did commit, but this is not pushed to master. If I switch to master, I would still not get the changes. That's because we don't have the changes on master. So let's publish this branch. by clicking publish. And now they are still not on the master. To put them on the master, you have to preview pull request. So click on preview pull request. And in here, you can see that merge one commit into master from shop UI. So this means that these changes from the shop UI branch will be moved to master. And they are gonna still on shop UI, but there will be a copy on master, right? So let's hit create pull request, and this will take us to this page. Again, you add a title, and then you just create pull request. You can review the changes over here if you want. You can see here all the changes that we just created, and then create pull request. Now just wait for it. Now that's done. If you want to push them to main, you can just merge the pull request. So click merge, and this says merge pull request and confirm. That's done. Now I can delete this branch if I want, because if I finished working on the shop UI, I won't use this branch anymore. But you can keep it or you can delete it. It's really up to you. For now, I'm going to keep it just to show you something really quick. If I go to code, you can see here that it says merge pull request #1 from my username, then the branch, right? And it says here 1 minute ago. But if I switch to branch, look what's going to happen. If I switch to my other branch, it's going to say that the branch is one commit behind master. And why? And this is because on master, we just made changes. And our branch, which is shop UI, is basically a copy of master that also needs to be updated, even if the changes that we just created are on the shop UI. And to keep them in sync, what we can do is we can go back to our GitHub desktop. And in here, you can go to the master branch. It says here 6 minutes because we still don't have the changes, right? So we're going to select the master branch and we're going to fetch origin. So when you click fetch origin, it's going to take everything that we have and we are going to pull it into origin so we override the changes. So I'm going to pull origin, and you can see now that the changes are, you can see here 1 minute, the changes are on master. Now, if you want to update the branch, you go back to the shop UI, and in here, we do have the changes, but this will always say that we are still one commit behind. So to keep them in sync, and remember, this is only when you don't delete the branch. When you keep the branch and you want to keep it in sync, you do this. You go to branch and then update from master. And you can see here that we successfully merged master again into shop UI. It's as if we are creating a new branch. It's the same step. And we're going to push origin to push these changes into the shop UI branch. Now both branches are synced and both branches are up to date. And if I go to GitHub and I refresh, you can see here that this branch is up to date with master. And if I switch to master, this branch should also have a merge request from the shop UI. Now, if I go back to Unity, in Unity, whatever branch I am in, it won't matter anymore because both branches represent the same thing. So if I switch to shop UI, it's going to be the same. And if I go back to switch to master, it's also going to be the same. Just remember, when you are collaborating with someone, don't commit directly to master. Learn how to create branches and you commit to branches, because sometimes when you commit to master, it's just going to make things messier, especially if you have two people working on the same stuff. So it's always safe to commit to branches and then merge the branches into master, because you can always go back in history and you can just right click and then you can revert the changes. So for example, let's say I merged this and I don't want it, I don't like it, it broke my app, I can just right click and then I can revert the changes. Does that make sense? And that's pretty much all. I don't know if I got everything straight, but I hope you guys learned. And if you didn't, just go back and repeat the steps one by one and let me know if you need help. I know this might be a complex or a complicated topic for you, but it's really useful. If you should always be using GitHub for these projects, if you don't want to lose the projects, if you want to collaborate with someone, if you want to keep track of the changes that you make, if you want to keep organizing your stuff, always do this. This is way better. And just one note that master can also be called main or anything. And let's say your friend wants to clone this repository, right? You invited them and they want to have this repository on their account. They click here add and then clone repository, and then should show in here. And that's because you invited them. So it's going to say in your repository, or it's, if you scroll all the way down, it's going to say the username, and then it's going to give you the repository. And that's it for today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I will see you in another video.